Hi, and welcome to another episode of Hot Takes with me, the Silver Fox. As the dust settles on yesterday's bombshell announcement that Dr. Lisa Cameron was crossing the floor of the House, leaving the SNP and joining the Tories, there are rumours abound that she may not be the last one. Certainly they will probably more likely go to Labour than the Tories, but it's likely that more will leave the SNP. People are fed up. They're fed up with the extremism. They're fed up with the obsession. They're fed up with the toxic atmosphere. And they're also fed up with the approach of the party to everything. There's no middle ground. There's no let's meet, and try and sort out problems. Everything is single issue. And that's not why they joined the party. Sure, they want independence, but they also want to sort out society, and it just isn't happening. And now, long-time rebel Fergus Ewing says that many more will go. He says, and probably shortly after the conference. We're going to take a look at this article, see what Fergus is saying, see if he's right, see if we can get any idea of who may well be next. Here goes. So Humza Yousaf warned that Lisa Cameron won't be the last quitter. As Patrick Grady victim says, SNP is harming independence cause. Simply by being the SNP, they're harming independence, because even the people who want independence are now losing, their attraction to the SNP, because it's an incredibly toxic party in every way. It's pro-perpetrators of crime, it's pro-peds, pro-predators, pro-pervs, it's pro-Hamas, it's pro-baby murderers, it's extreme to every nth degree, it's got a leader with no intelligence and no political nous, that he's filled his cabinet with lickspittles and yes men, won't accept any other view, can't admit he's ever wrong, and of course anyone who stands up and complains is immediately bullied out of the party. It's a dead party. The money it's got has gone. The money's drying up because the membership is failing. They're done. They're dusted. They are literally hanging on their deathbed, hoping to God somebody will pull the plug. Anyway, Fergus Ewing reckons that there is a general malcontent within the SNP group after the East Kilbride, Straven and Lesmahago MP joined the Tories. Humza Yousaf has been warned Lisa Cameron will not be the last politician to quit the SNP unless he tackles the general malcontent within the party. Now, I'm going to suggest that the best way in which he can help the party is to resign. Nobody likes him. The people, even the people who supported him during his election to leader, have grown to distance themselves from him and I made a mistake. Thought he was one thing, turned out to be another. Thought he was a replacement for Sturgeon. Turns out, nah, he's really not. Anyway, Dr. Cameron stunned the political world when she moved over to the Tory benches after allegedly being subject to bullying within the SNP group. I don't think there's any allegedly in there. I think she undoubtedly was. The East Kilbride, Straven and Lesmahago MP said there was a toxic atmosphere within the party and that she'd been, claimed that she'd been ostracised for raising concerns about the handling of the Patrick Grady scandal. Grady, the little sex pest who likes to touch up other people's children. And veteran Nat MSP Fergus Ewing has predicted others could follow her lead. And I wouldn't be surprised at all. I think there's two or three certainly. But they're going to be small names. They're not going to be big names as such. But, it's that drip, 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 that whittling effect that will do for Humza Yousaf. Mr. Ewing recently handed a 1-week suspension by his party for failing to back Green Minister Lorna Slater in a confidence vote. And I mean, seriously, who actually has confidence in Lorna Slater? Said many within the SNP were demanding radical change before Christmas and wanted the Butte House agreement with the Greens scrapped. Now, this is something that's going to come up, hopefully come up during the conference if they allow it. But it's something that the majority of people now want. When I say the majority of people, I don't just mean the majority of people everywhere. I mean the majority of people within the SNP want this scrapped now. But of course, Humza Yousaf, he's backed the Greens all the way. for him to do it now and scrap them would be a massive loss of face. And of course, he had the perfect excuse during the week when the vertical turd opened her mouth and said she was backing Hamas and that, and he could have gone at that point, bang, well, that's enough. No, I've backed you all the way. I can't back that. And got rid of them without losing face. Can't do it now, of course, because now he's tied his colours to the same mast as those who support baby killers. Dr. Cameron's resignation came days before the SNP's annual conference in Aberdeen and comes amid suggestions Mr. Yousaf faces a fight to hold on to the leadership of the party. Well, he's doing, keeping the seat warm. It wouldn't surprise me if he gets a challenge, though. Mr. Ewing told the Daily Mail, whatever the rights and wrongs on the situation, on a human level, it doesn't sound as if the SNP leadership did right by this lady. He said there was a general malcontent within the party and asked if there was a possibility more could walk away. He added, of course there is, because they're put off by the dangerous and daft alliance by the Greens and have been scunnered and frankly punished by daft policies. The backbenchers especially, they're sitting there and they're looking, every time Humza Yousaf gets up and talks, and they're going, every time he opens his mouth, I'm losing votes. I'm going to lose my job because I chose the wrong person to lead the party. And it's going to come. He's just dead man walking, isn't he, Humza Yousaf? The only thing is, he probably doesn't even realise it. In an explosive statement, Dr. Cameron described the SNP Westminster group, led by Stephen Flynn, as toxic and bullying, and said it led to a deterioration of her mental health, leaving her needing counselling. She said she did not regret sticking up for the staffer who was a victim of sex pest Grady, while the rest of the group rallied round the Glasgow MP after his 2-day suspension from Westminster. Yes, everyone was more concerned about the toucher-upper of other people's children than they were about the young man who was touched up by that ignominious little shit, Patrick Grady, the man who looks like a thumb. She added, being in the SNP has always been bad for my health. I will be taking time, as advised, to recuperate and will continue, as always, to focus upon serving my constituents. Which is the whole bloody point of being a politician, isn't it? It comes as Grady's victim accused the SNP of actively damaging the independence cause. And speaking to the Daily Record, he said, it's heartbreaking to watch the party I dedicated my life to free-falling into chaos following my complaints of sexual harassment. The SNP needs strong leadership urgently to ensure staff and victims of sexual harassment are safe and those that support them will not be bullied or retaliated against. Good luck, sunshine. Good luck. They only care for the pervs, the pedos and the preds, don't they? They don't care about their victims. He said, as a supporter of Scottish independence, I fear the SNP are now actively damaging the cause rather than promoting it. Of course they are, because they're toxic. They're vile. They're filled with vile, horrible people, for a start. And everyone out there is starting to see it. They're starting to see these monsters for what they are. And when they are allying themselves with the things that have happened last weekend in Israel, and they're pro that, they're lining themselves up to be counted as people who support Hamas after what Hamas did. You know the time has come to leave the party and leave them to it, because they are inhumane. Rather than address her concerns, Mr. Yousaf had attempted to play down Dr. Cameron's defection and claimed she never really supported Scottish independence in the first place. And speaking to BBC Radio Scotland on Friday, SNP President Mike Russell described it as an odd tantrum in reference to Dr. Cameron facing deselection in her constituency. Won't address the bullying, won't address the ostracisation, and certainly won't address the problems with supporting sex pest MP Patrick Grady, the toucher-upper of other people's children. Because they don't like talking about that in the SNP, do they? Not that, they've got Grady and they've got Mark Kerr, the toucher-up of children, and then you've got, what's his name, Jordan Linden, toucher-upper of other people, also being investigated for grooming. And so, this is the SNP's filled and rife with it. And a conversation I had with someone else, which they all know, I'm not going to say who, but they will know. We discussed another individual within the party, very senior within the party, for whom I have been told some terrible accusations, which I'm not prepared to repeat. But that person who I spoke to yesterday knows who they are, who this person is. And we both agreed that, that what I was told is probably true. and it is vile accusations, let me tell you, still in a senior role in the SNP. And yet apparently people know about it. Goes to tell you, doesn't it? Anyway, asked about her toxic and bullying comments, Mr. Russell added, I don't agree with those claims. Well, he would say that, wouldn't he? As Christine Keeler would say. He says, I think these claims, I think these are claims, but I think these are unsubstantiated claims. Unsubstantiated doesn't mean didn't happen, though, does it? Anyway, I shall stop there. I shall come up, and we shall just sit there and remember that the SNP is filled with filth. Coming up. Now, I must be honest that when Fergus Ewing lost his whip, not his whip, the whip, I did expect him to possibly resign and then stand again as an independent in an election. I thought that would have been the strongest thing. He'd have undoubtedly have won it, but it would have been a kick in the teeth, if you like, for Humza Yousaf. That would have been so embarrassing because he would have punished this guy and then watched as the people of the constituency put him straight back in, but this time as an independent. And then, of course, having weakened Humza like that, Humza would be finished, he'd been gone by the conference. Kate Forbes basically installed as leader, and then Fergus comes back and he's has his moment in the sun. His star will rise, he will shine brightly, brighter than he's ever shone before, kind of thing. But that didn't happen. But I think all he's got to do is wait now. All he's got to do is just bide his time, wait, be a loyal lieutenant to Kate Forbes, and his time will come. Anyway, I shall stop there. Thank you very much for watching this. I hope it's been entertaining. I hope it's been elucidating. And until next time, stay safe, stay well. Do hit the subscribe button. We're getting very close to a target. But also, there's a lot to come. We've got the whole of the conference yet. And you don't want to miss that. So do please hit the subscribe button. And until next time, bye.